Okay. I've got a couple of comments here. Sounds like you can't hear the video. I was kind of afraid of that. So this is actually on YouTube. So we'll get started in just a few minutes. I'll let it play, but please be aware that I'll give you a recap of basically what went down in this interview, what we can expect going forward, and you know I'll regurgitate what happened with the interview and then give you my opinion of what is coming down the pike with regards to how Washington could possibly be addressing this. So, give me a few minutes. We're almost set up and we'll get started. Thanks for your patience. Hello, Facebook, YouTube friends. Thank you so much this evening. I'm actually going solo this evening, so I won't be able to answer questions on the fly, but I will circle back towards the end of tonight's discussion so I can add as much, answer all of your questions. So please type away. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box and we will circle back to you on the Q&A section after the presentation. Thank you. Okay, while we're waiting to get started, if you could please do me a favor, if you could in the chat box, put in what area you're located in, or more importantly, what areas you're looking to move to. It kind of helps me going forward with concentrating on certain areas that have some existing programs in place that we might be able to piggyback with some of these new programs that might be coming down the pike. Thanks, Detroit. Actually, great. I'm in southeastern Michigan myself, grew up in Detroit, so appreciate that. Patrick, Westland, Livonia areas, appreciate that. 48219. All right. Farmington. Great. Downriver areas work well too. Got it. Redford, Macomb County. Good. All good. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. It is the top of the hour. Now, if any of you would like the recording, just reach out to me. Actually, all the presentations that I actually do on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. They're all streamed right there. So if you ever want a replay of any of my webinars, they are sitting out there. I would say YouTube is probably the most reliable platform that way. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which is called Own the Roof, OWNTHEROOF, and you will see all of my previous webinars. So, all right. With that being said, it is 7 o'clock. So I always like to get started on time, certainly be respectful for everyone's time. Thank you so much for showing up this evening. Looks like fall is finally here. So kind of a dank day, as my mother-in-law would have said, little overcast, things like that. So, but anyways, tonight's presentation, I'm going to be focusing on the announcement that came out actually 45 days ago. It was actually the 1st of September. And I really am kind of disappointed that it didn't get more traction or hasn't got picked up as well by some of the media outlets as I would have certainly hoped for. So So basically, what it is, the U.S. Secretary Bessent came out, and there's actually a few different publications out there. Let me go back here. There's one I was reading earlier. So here you can see President Trump's Treasury chief floats declaring national housing emergency. Okay, those are some pretty powerful words. If they're going to declare a national housing emergency, that finally leads me to believe that maybe Washington is hearing what is going on for people right now, because the housing market is in pretty bad shape, and it doesn't look like it's going to be getting any better anytime soon. We are seeing prices increase at an unprecedented rate. I mean, homes going up 100% in value over 5 years. We're watching people buying homes, property taxes just shooting up on people. And it's unfortunate, but I feel like some tax assessors are just really hammering people when they're buying houses. So I'm always telling people we got to be aware of some of those municipalities. Also, homeowners insurance is skyrocketing. So it's really pushing the numbers up for regarding homeownership. And imagine if that's what it's like owning a house, these landlords are getting hit hard too. But I still think landlords are very opportunistic, at least in my neck of the woods in southeastern Michigan. I'm finding that there is a big disparity between what people pay from a mortgage payment and a rent payment in Michigan, where we're kind of different. We're, a lot of areas of the country, you'll find that sometimes it's actually less expensive, and in many cases less expensive to actually rent than to own. In the Detroit area, totally different. Okay. And that's the reason why we get a lot of out of town investors coming in, just opportunists trying to take advantage of things, buy homes, rent them out, don't put a lick of work into them. I can't tell you how many people I talk to on a weekly or monthly basis that are with landlords that just, maybe when they got in, they had the best of intentions, but right now, it's so hard to find landlords that really have pride in the products that they offer renters. And the thing is, if you don't like it, they just say, leave, we'll get a new person. And so as a result, I tell people, if you're renting and you're paying below $1,000 a month, you're probably not getting a lot of quality for that. Okay. Especially since right now in southeastern Michigan, the average 2-bedroom apartment just surpassed $1,350 a month. Right now, that is actually buying over $150,000 house. So if you're looking in the Detroit area, where I specialize in the city of Detroit, that gets you a good quality house. So, anyways, Secretary Bessent came out actually on Labor Day and said that they recognize all of these shortcomings in the housing market, and that there is a big disparity between where first-time home buyers are now and where they used to be. So right now, the average first-time home buyer is 38 years old. Now, 38 years old doesn't sound that old to probably many of the people I work with, but I'm going to tell you that number is 10 years more than what it was 20 years ago. Okay. Now, whether that's people just giving up on home ownership, people not wanting to do it, people not being able to qualify, that's a mixed bag. I don't know that I can say with a high degree of certainty that I know the true answer to that, just because I'm such a small sampling. I know what feedback I get, but because I typically work with a lot of people that are crossing over from renting and they just don't know that they can do it. So, so that's where my webinars come in. So, but in my opinion, you don't see a U.S. secretary come out and say that, hey, the president's thinking of declaring a national housing emergency, unless there's probably something coming down the pike. Okay. So that is what's really prompting me to do tonight's webinar. And the reason is the way that the market is right now, if they issue some of the programs or grants or tax credits or whatever on top of what's already out there, we are going to see things go bananas. And if that happens, it's going to be good and it's going to not be good. It's going to be good because the people that are prepared and ready to act quickly, they will be able to pin something down that's quality and get across the finish line. I feel like the people that are more reactive instead of proactive, there it's going to be an uphill battle. And for those of you that have been following me, and by the way, hey, please put in the chat box, how many years have some of you been following me? Okay. I actually have some people that follow me too. I had somebody I talked to earlier said she's been watching me for 3 years. And, I really do appreciate that. So, and I know it's all about when the timing works for you. Thanks, Joanne, 1 year. So even if it's 6 months, that's great. So I really do appreciate the loyal following. So anything I can ever do for you and your family or friends, just please, I hope you over that course of time have come to know me and that I am kind of like a pay it forward person. So please, share this information with people because I feel like I always like working with like-minded people. And I am blessed to work with wonderful people every single day. So, so that being the case, I like to keep it in the family, so to speak. So anyways, I just truly don't think that we're going to see a U.S. secretary make statements like this. And as you can see, look at this article, September 2nd, if you look here with the National Mortgage Professional. I don't think they're going to make bold statements unless they're working on stuff behind the scenes. Okay. So tonight we're going to touch on several things. What would be the steps that I would do to prepare for this event? Because like I said, when this stuff comes down, if they do the tax credit that is starting to be talked about now, it's going to be so much money out there for people in southeastern Michigan. It's going to be probably the best opportunity that we're going to see for the foreseeable future for people to get into homes and have home ownership. So, but not everybody's going to be able to get across that finish line unless they're 100% prepared, because I can see what's going to happen. The floodgates will open, the mortgage companies will get swamped. And then if you don't have all of your ducks in a row, meaning your paperwork and all that stuff ready to go and make it, I call it John proof. You got to make it, idiot proof, just so this stuff sails right through. Okay. Right now, the mortgage industry they have an excess capacity. So any file that has headaches with it or blips or little hair on it, for lack of better words, or problem files, they're getting worked out because they have that excess capacity. When the floodgates open, those files don't get the attention. The clean ones just kind of just flow right through. So my goal for you this evening is to make sure we can kind of coach you in that way. So when this, national housing emergency is declared and they start coming out with additional funds, and by the way, in the address or interview that Secretary Bessent had back on September 1st, that interview, he actually stated that he knows that there are a lot of down payment assistance programs and grants. He knows that there's tons of those across the country, and their goal is to not disrupt any of those. What they want to do is they want to complement those programs. So if they're going to complement those programs, imagine this. Imagine, there's chatter about a program in Detroit coming back, $25,000. Imagine if you could tap another $15,000 or $25,000 on top of that in different credits. Heck, right now, I still have a couple of slots available for the Tobias Harris program that's offering $75,000 in 9 zip codes in Detroit. Imagine if you could piggyback that with another $15,000 to $25,000. So what that means to you, in my mind, is you can actually buy a $175,000 house, put the $75,000 down, have another $15,000 to $25,000 for tax credits for closing costs or whatever. And next thing you know, you're rolling in with a payment. In many cases, it might be $800, well below what you pay in rent. And now you own a $175,000 house. These are programs that are just, it sounds too good to be true. I realize that, but I promise you, I routinely do these types of transactions. I haven't done anything in the Detroit area, above 35,000. But we do have those deals in the works right now on the Tobias Harris program that's offering 75. So anyways, with that being said, let's jump right into this evening. So, and you know what? Got it. So look, it got people asking questions. Put all of those questions in there. I promise. Put the questions in the chat box. I will circle back and I will answer all of your questions. As long as you're here, I'm here. Okay. So here we go. My promises for this evening, and I say this all the time, I realize that there is no sales pitch here. Okay. I am not here to sell you anything. I am 100% about educational content and getting you in tune with what money is on the table. I am all about helping you pick up as much money on the table as possible. So my goal is to give you as many options as possible, identify what programs are going to fit best for you and your family today. And maybe today isn't your day. Maybe you want to wait another month or two. Well, I'll give you the tools and the coaching to get where you need to be, if it's tomorrow, next month, whenever. Okay. Never any pressure with me. It's always on your timeline. So that's just the way that I roll. So tonight we're going to go over United States Secretary of Treasury, the housing crisis. I'm going to touch on that for a few minutes. From there, I am going to give you the steps. The first step in my mind, we need to find out what programs are out there. Okay. Because the programs change geographically. Okay. They don't offer the same programs and the same zip codes, towns, cities, anywhere in the country. They are all different. So for that, I've developed an application. It's called a no down payment. You can see it on the Google Play or Apple Store. Okay. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. I'm also going to give you the qualifications that we need to strive for to get you and your family in a position to pull this off when the time comes. I'm going to briefly tell you how we get you in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. Okay. Right now, there is enough money on the table where that part is actually the easiest, oddly enough. So from there, I'm going to tell you how we can make sure that you align yourself with free, quality, experienced representation to help you every step of the way. And I always tell people, if you follow my steps, I promise you, I will get you there regardless of credit. And any of you that have credit issues, I do a credit building webinar. Okay. So there's basically just a few things that go into getting financing. And I'm going to go over those things in a minute. But while I'm waiting, if you could please type in the chat box, what is holding you back? Do you think it's money? Do you think it's credit? Do you think it's income? What do you think is holding you back? So, and I'll give you the answer that I think invariably most people run into. I got it, Dukes. A lot of people have credit stuff. I mean, most of the people on tonight's webinar have probably been on some of my previous webinars, and I appreciate that. So you probably heard my story. I went through a very hard patch myself about 12 years ago and had to rebuild my credit after a bankruptcies and foreclosures. So I am well in tune with credit repair. And I actually do a free credit building webinar. The tools that are available to people nowadays, it's very easy for me to coach people to get your credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. So take me up on that. But before we get started, I want to share a story with you. This is Emily. And actually, Emily was on my last webinar. She bought a house several months ago. And every now and then she chimes in. And I can't tell you how much I love Emily. She is one of these ladies that just is so positive and she willed her transaction across the finish line because unfortunately she fell in love with a house that was actually going through what was the equivalent of a short sale. And a short sale is when an owner owes more than the property's worth. They're usually absolute nightmare. I actually remember telling Emily, this is going to be an uphill battle. And her answer was, I know, John, but this is the one for me. And, God willing, it all worked out. So Emily was able to buy this house on Freeland. Okay. And I'm going to give you please make sure to give you a feel for how complicated her transaction was. And we were able to get it done. So her transaction, in addition to the short sale, okay, we were able to get her a $25,000 down payment assistance program through the city of Detroit, which as long as she owns the house for 3 years, boom, she gets to keep the whole 25,000. On top of that, we got a 3% grant for her down payment. That was another 5,000. Then we were able to get a closing cost grant. I don't know, that was another whatever 5,000 or so, and then a credit for or a grant for her appraisal. So all in, we got her $33,134 in free money. Okay. Now, what's even better about Emily is on a fixed income. So she's on Social Security and she's the recipient of a Section 8 housing voucher. Okay. The incredible thing with her, we're able to have the housing voucher make her mortgage payment. Okay. If you happen to be in with a housing commission where you have access to a voucher making your rent payments, okay, if your housing commission participates in the Keys to Ownership program, you can buy a house and have the voucher pay for your mortgage payment. Absolute craziness. So, and I've never shared that story till last week when Emily was on my webinar. And I always tell people about Emily and how much money she got. And then she actually said, John, you have to tell people how my voucher is paying for my payment. People have to know that you can actually, and because I'm always guarded with people's financial privacy. So that's why I've never really shared it. But Emily wants me to share it. She wants people to know that you can get things done like that. Okay. For me, it's all about who you align yourself with. Now, is it work? Yes. Is it the easiest transaction in the world? Heck no. But patience and persistence always wins in my book. Okay. So anyways, that's Emily. And, oh, here's the other thing. Emily's house, I just want to show you, I am all about quality houses. Now, this is a solid brick ranch right on Freeland. And I want to give you a feel for what the inside is like, because the inside was just off the charts. Okay. And here you can see it sold for $117,000. But anyways, I want you to look at these photos. Okay. Inside, beautiful house, carpet. You can see the fireplace there. Now, when I look at a house, I'm always looking at the roof, basement, mechanicals. Okay. I want quality homes. Now, this home was well maintained. They were going through an estate sale. It wasn't an estate sale. Actually, the homeowner had to go to an assisted living facility, but you can see the kitchen was fairly updated. But more importantly, I have been selling homes. I've been doing real estate, I should say, because I haven't always been selling homes. I started in 87 selling homes and got into mortgages and kind of made my way through the industry. But that being said, it's not often that I can look in a house in the city and go down the basement and see look at this basement. That's actually carpet in the basement, as old as what's upstairs. This house has never had a lick of water in the basement. Actually had a full bathroom downstairs. There was a leak in the ceiling here, but that was probably because the tub overflowed upstairs. So anyways, but look at the walls. This is actually drywall. And I always look at the basement, look at the wall, where the wall meets the floor. Usually you'll see like watermarks. No, just the driest basement I have ever seen in the city. So anyways, I was so happy for her and still am today. So anyways, so I share stories like that and give you the backstory because I feel like there's never a lot of hope. Okay. And I find that that's what my job is. Remember a few seconds ago when I asked you what was holding people back? I find that a lot of people say, come up with the credit, they come up with the income and all of those things, money down. I have somebody here saying bankrupt, foreclosure. Totally get that. I'll give you a path to get there. Okay. So, but I also understand that people have heard a lot of these promises before. Okay. And I also understand that too. So I never want to oversell things. I do get very excited about it just because there's so much opportunity for people out there. And I get excited because it's a message that people have heard, but they don't really believe. A lot of people, we've all heard of somebody getting these deals, but I don't think that people really realize that Um, I have no problem holding people by the hand and taking them through the whole process. Okay. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Okay. What I do enjoy is that end when people come in and they have those seeds of doubt that they can't do it and then they can. Gosh, very few things light me up as much as that. So, like I said, I know people have heard all these stories before, and I'm going to give you a lot of success stories this evening. There is absolutely no magic here. These programs are out there. They really work. I always tell people, just ask yourself, what would this mean for you? Okay. What if we could get you qualified? What if you never had to move again because your landlord sold the house or your rent went up or something like that? Okay. So, and as much as I feel like people think that credit holds them back or income or maybe money, the truth of the matter is, I think it's really the hope. Okay. So I try to instill as much of that as heavenly possible. So here are a couple of good success stories. Here's one that just closed a couple of weeks ago. Nate and Chelsea purchased this house. This is actually at White Lake. He bought this home with a $14,000 forgivable down payment assistance program that actually had a solar package. So Nate's going to have a solar system installed on his house. First time I've ever done that. Okay. Haven't really been through the whole process yet. So far, it's, there was a bumpy road in the beginning, but we got him through. But I'll let you know, keep you posted with regards to how the solar system goes, because I'm always skeptical. I'm like, hey, how much energy does this solar system yield? Is it really going to get rid of his electric bill? Things like that. I'm an old cynical guy. So unless I've been through a program once, I don't like to pump it up or get people too excited about it. But actually, Nate's loan officer brought this to us. Okay, so that's how we kind of stepped into it. So Nate was excited about it and very excited for his purchase, getting in with very little money out of pocket. Here is another, this is one Kenneth just closed on this house. Okay. And we're actually doing a video because this is an absolutely great story. Kenneth called me about 3 months ago, and he called me from his barber's chair. He was actually sitting in his barber's chair. He was telling his barber how his roommate moved out. The lease was in his name, the roommate's name, and now the landlord was pushing him out. So he had nowhere to go. So he was working with an agent that was trying to push him into a house on, actually, I think it was on Braille and Finkel. It was down. I used to live, I lived on Lamphere in Finkel in Brightmoor. That's where I grew up. So I know the area quite well. And the house that this agent was trying to push him into was about $50,000. And it was in rough shape. But I think Kenneth was just being told that that's all he could afford. And it just, he needed to do something. Sorry, maybe there was a little bit of desperation there, but his barber made him call me. I got him approved that afternoon because he actually has very good credit. Not a lot of credit, but good credit. And then he's on a fixed income. He's on Social Security. He's actually retired from one of the local labor unions. So, so it was a rough patch. So actually halfway through the process, somebody had stolen his identity and opened up some credit cards. It was rough, but we hung in there and we got him across the finish line. He was actually homeless for a little while, so we had to put him up in a hotel. But when we were so far down the trail, we just had to make that level of commitment and make sure he could get over the hump. So, but anyways, I'm proud to say Kenneth is in this house now. There's a lot more to the story that I think my video person's putting together. Is that we should be uploading to Instagram or YouTube shortly. So, but very, very happy for Kenneth. He just closed on this last Tuesday, so a week ago. So I just saw him the Sunday dropping off some things to his house, trying to help him out since he didn't really have anything. And looks like him and his new dog Maestro are actually doing quite well. So anyways, and then here's another story. This is actually Shannon. Shannon was referred to me from Melody that works at the several people that I've worked with that work at the Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming. Well, Shannon wanted something close to the Kroger because she likes to walk. And I'm seeing a trend of people that just don't want to drive anymore. And I get that. So we found this house on Wyoming, just a couple of blocks from the Kroger that she works at. And she was able to purchase it on a zero down grant program through Flagstar Bank, where she'll need a couple $1,000s at closing. Okay. So very, very happy for Shannon. So now my goal for you this evening, we're going to give you some confidence. I want you to know, I'm going to give you the knowledge so you have the confidence. And I'm going to ask you to schedule a strategy call with me. Let me get that information out there right now. Here is a link to my calendar to schedule a call. Okay. And let me do this. Here's my phone number, 248-252-7283. That's my cell phone number. Okay. I'm the first to admit I am a phone jockey. I am on the phone all day long. So if you call and I don't answer, please leave a message, or better yet, text me. Okay. I have a lot of calls scheduled on my calendar. And when they can't make it, I'll return your call. I'll return your text as soon as I possibly can. So I try to return all my calls before the end of the day. It's just it's kind of like a thing for me. So I just know what it's like waiting on people, and I don't like other people having to wait on me. So tonight we're going to give you the confidence by giving you the knowledge. Schedule that strategy call, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. It doesn't matter to me. Okay. I'm here to dispel the common misbeliefs that you need to have money. Number one, you don't need money. The money is the easiest part for me. Okay. Regardless of this national housing emergency money that's coming down the pike, money should not stop anybody from buying a house. That's just the way it is. There's plenty of money for me to tap into. There's ways to get seller credits. There's ways to get lender credits. There's ways to get credits all over the place. I've been doing this long enough where I know how to structure it and get you the money. A couple of the people that we've talked about already tonight, they had no intentions of buying a house. But you know what? We set up a plan. Hey, we just made your offer, got it accepted, need $500 today. Hey, in about a month, give me another 500, and then maybe at closing 500. Kenneth, he needed like $990 to buy that house. Okay. So, and by the way, Kenneth's payment came in at like $760. I should have put that up there. He told me to do that. So his payment was $760 a month for that 3-bedroom house on Vaughn and 7 Mile and Evergreen. So it's an area that he was very comfortable in, and probably something was a lot less stressful to live in than the old Brightmoor area. So, okay. So good credit. You don't need to have good credit. In fact, if the City of Detroit program comes back, and these programs are coming back right now, if you were able to tap into one of those programs, I got people approved for those with credit scores all the way down to a 540 last time. So don't think that credit will hold you back. Okay. Here, I'm going to give you a link to register for my free credit repair webinar. On this webinar, this is on Saturdays, I'm going to teach you what they look for in the mortgage world. Okay. How do they look at credit? What credit scores do they use? How to get your credit score up 60 points in 60 days, the things that you should do, and most importantly, the things you shouldn't do. There are several things that you should not do. And I'm going to say it right now. Never pay off your collection accounts without talking to a professional. Okay. You pay off old collection accounts, you're reactivating them, your credit scores will drop. Okay. That's the one thing that trips people up. So that is kind of a common sense thing. Hey, pay off collection, my scores are going to go up. Doesn't work that way. Okay. So take me up on that. It's an hour-long webinar. If you're not up for it now, go out to my YouTube channel. Let me give you that. YouTube right here. And you can see all of my old credit repair webinars. They're out there on the live area. Okay. Now, my only asks for you this evening is, if you go out, hey, I just gave you my YouTube channel. Go out there and friend me. Follow me on YouTube. I want to build it up. The more people I have, the easier it is for me to spread the message. Okay. So follow me on Facebook. Here's my Facebook. If you can follow me there, that's my 2 asks for you today. Just follow me on Facebook and YouTube. I would really appreciate it. Okay. And here's one more success story before we get into things. Tashiana, she actually qualified for the City of Detroit $25,000 program. We were able to sell her this house on Rosemont. Now, she had no intentions of buying a house, didn't have the budget. When she met me, she was like, wow, love the house. I can get pre-approved, but I got to save up $1,500. Like, no, we don't want to wait. You love this house. The stars are in alignment. Let's go with it. We'll work with your budget. Give me 500 in a couple of weeks when you can, 500 in a month. We'll figure it out. We structure it to your budget. Okay. If we waited around for everything to be perfect in my life, I'll tell you what, it's never perfect. So I realize other people's lives are the same way. So the key for me though, we just got to communicate. Okay. So that's all. Makes it easier. All right. Now let's jump into some of these topics. Now, the housing crisis. So like I said earlier, the average first-time home buyer being 38 years old is presenting an issue. Okay. We're getting not only one, we're looking at 2 generations that are giving up on home ownership. And this is a bipartisan issue and they know it. Okay. This is something that needs to get solved right away. And it not only solved, it needs to get turned around and corrected, because we cannot have home ownership trending up to people in the 40s. It's like we're almost giving away a just strategic wealth building part of most Americans, home ownership. So I always tell people, the quicker we get people into the home buying game, the quicker it's going to be the better it's going to be for everyone. So it's the quicker we get you in, 30, 40 years down the road, maybe someday, God willing, you're able to, hang up your shoes and maybe retire. Think about it. You've got 10 more years in that equity game. If that's the case, that could be the difference of $100,000, if not more, in 30, 40 years. Okay. So it's very important that people get on it sooner than later. Now, the things that they are actually tossing around in Washington, they're tossing around zoning. How about if we help rezone places? I think the municipalities are going to push back on that. They are talking about pushing rates down, and they've had that conversation for the longest time. And I think they're going to eventually do a good job at it. So I think the rates will factor in a little bit. Land sales, they're talking about possibly selling some key pieces of land for multi-housings. I have a feeling some communities are going to have some issues with that. Okay. So I don't think that's as easy as what people are tossing around. Now, closing cost credits, I do think if those were done by the way of tax credits, I think would be great. There's some chatter that they're trying to actually apply those at the time of closing. How they would pull that off, I don't know, but that would be a home run. Okay. And they're talking about finding ways to try and cap the homeowners insurance and taxes that are just, in the Detroit area, they're going up. Nationally, in some areas, they're spiking to a level that's it's just insanity. So, but what I ultimately think that they're probably going to end up doing is just issuing tax credits. Now, tax credits are only sometimes as good as where your income level is, in my opinion. So I hope that they find some type of hybrid version that would give you a credit at closing for your closing costs and maybe some benefits on the tax side. So that, coupled along with some of the down payment assistance programs and grants, I think could be very, very powerful for people. Okay. So when is this going to happen? I have no idea. I know that this message was given out a month and a half ago, 9/1/25. So I do suspect that I think something's going to be coming out. Who knows? It might be by the end of the year, maybe the first of next, but they said by fall. And in my mind, we are in fall right now. Okay. So let's try to get everybody's home in order so we can start accessing these things. What does that entail? The first thing is we need to identify what area you're moving to so we can pinpoint what programs are available, capitalize on the big money that's out there. And then, just like I showed you with Emily, how we were able to stack different programs. Well, if we can get your credit up to a certain level, yeah, that's probably going to be in play again. All right. So where do we start there? We start by going to the no down payment application. Okay. So I always tell people, go out to the Google Play Store, go out to the Apple Store, download my application. This should be your first step. NODOWN. That's it. No down payment. Okay. So if you go out to the Google Play Store, or let's just say here, Google Play Store, this is what I want you to look for. Where are we? Okay. There it is. No down payment. Okay, you can see it right here. So you can have peace of mind. No one's going to get your information here but me. And I don't sell any information. I'm not in the business of that. I'm in the business of giving people, teaching people how to tap into these programs. Okay. So this is actually my application. We just built it about a month ago. You can see it's only got 100 downloads, but we're waiting to finish up our whole platform, and then we'll start really pushing this to the masses. Okay. But what's going to happen is when you go to this application, you're going to see this. Okay. Whoops. All you have to do is enter a property address. And here, I'll put the house I grew up at. 16801. There it is. Lamphere, Detroit. Oops. 48219. And then you can see qualifies for 19 programs. Okay. So all you have to do is hit the Get Details button, enter your information, and you're going to get a list. You're going to get a list instantly. And this is what it's going to look like. Okay. Just like this. It's going to tell you all the programs. So that house on Lamphere qualifies for $25,000 right now. Imagine if we piggyback that with some of the different programs that are out there. So crazy amounts of money out there. So that's it. That's the no down payment application. That's the first step. We want to know what programs we're going to tap you into, so then I can actually tap into those guidelines and go, okay, if these are the programs you want, this you're good to go now, or this is what we need to do to get you to qualify for it. Okay, good. So that's the first step. We want to figure out what program is good for you. Second, okay, oops, we want to, what are the qualifications? Okay, anytime you're getting financing on a house, there's more than four, but the four that you have control over: income, credit, assets, and property. Okay. Now, with regards to your income, don't think that fixed income doesn't work. I will tell you, Emily had a fixed income. Kenneth had a fixed income. So just because you're on a fixed income, don't think that that holds you back. All right. Don't let that hold you back. So when it comes to your income, they do need 2 years of income. Okay. It doesn't need to be consistent. Okay. If you were laid off for 6 months or unemployed for 6 months out of the 2 years, that's fine. We'll just go back 2.5 years. Well, they just need to show it doesn't have to be solid years. They need to have 2 years of income. It could be broken up. It could be amongst several employers, things like that. Now, W-2 income, when they take your taxes out, that's ideal. Easiest way to get people done. If you receive a 1099 income or self-employed, we're going to need your taxes for the last 2 years. Okay. Now, they work off of what they call debt to income ratios. Okay. They don't want to see more than 45% of your income go to your new house payment and the debts that are showing up on your credit and possibly, on your bank statements. So most of it's going to be caught on your credit. So let's say, for example, you've got income of $40,000 a year. 45% of that is going to be $1,800 a month. So we take that 1,800, maybe we subtract 400 for a car, maybe 100 for a credit card and student loans, who knows? That takes you down to a payment of about $1,300. $1,300 is going to get you into probably about a $140,000 mortgage with taxes and insurance and everything. So imagine, which is coincidentally close to what you pay for a 2-bedroom apartment, $1,300. Imagine if you were able to put on top of that $25,000. Now you're buying $185,000. Suppose you could go to one of the Tobias Harris programs that still has some funding, $75,000. You're talking well into the 200s and only having a $1,300 house payment. Okay. That's how we structure those types of transactions. Now, with regards to credit, like I said earlier, there are some programs hopefully coming back where we can go into the deep 500s. It's a little bit more challenging, but the programs that are pretty much always available, as long as you have a credit score above a 580, we've got plenty of hope. Okay. If your credit scores are in the mid 500s, sign up for one of my webinars. Okay. I'll give you the tools to get a quick spike in your score. 60 points in 60 days. I promise people, just follow my steps. I've been through it many, many times. It's very predictable. There's a lot of local tools too that you can tap into that a lot of credit unions. Okay. The big thing that they look for though, and the big things that trip people up, is they don't want to see recent late payments or collections. Okay. An isolated late payment, 30-day late payment, I can wrestle with sometimes, but if there's a chronic pattern, then we may need to coach you on how to contact the creditors to request them to remove it or do it. And I actually go over those things in my credit repair or credit building webinars. Okay. Next thing, assets. Assets are that's just the money you have in the bank that you're going to use for the down payment. Don't get hung up on assets. Please don't get hung up on the money. I know that sounds crazy, but that is the easiest part with all of these grants and down payment assistance programs. So it's so a lot of these programs will take care of your down payment. What's left over after that is your closing costs, and I'm going to cover that in just a minute and how I handle that. So as far as the properties though, the properties need to be in habitable condition. Okay. They have to have a functioning kitchen, bathrooms. Okay. They don't need to be updated. Okay. They just need to be functional and working. Okay. All right. Next thing, how do I structure these transactions? Well, don't worry about the down payment. Like I said, these programs automatically take care of it, but we do have to many times tackle the closing costs. Now, some of these programs will cover your down payment. Whatever's left over, we can start to chew away at the closing cost. Doesn't always work that way. For example, the Harris Tobias $75,000 program goes right to your down payment. Doesn't cover your closing costs. But what we can do is we can try to identify homes and sellers that will pay those closing costs for you. They can pay 3%. Okay. And if they can't, there are other tools. Okay. We can always ask the seller to contribute to your closing costs. We can ask the lender to contribute to your closing costs with premium pricing. There are some banks we can go to, open checking accounts and get $500 paid towards your closing costs. There's so many levers to pull and buttons to push to get people across the finish line from a closing cost standpoint. I just need to know the actual transaction and property to best coach each person on that front. Okay. So don't get caught up on the numbers any further than 1%. Just keep 1% in your mind. So that's typically what most of the programs have as a requirement. They want you to have some skin in the game, and that skin's going to be 1%. So if it's a $150,000 house, that's $1,500. $200,000 house, you got to have $2,000 into it. Okay. Now, there are some programs that only require 1,000, but those are few and far between. Okay. But if your budget's that tight, happy to help identify those programs and the properties that they'll qualify for on those. Okay. All right. Next thing. Okay. This is actually probably the most important part. Make sure that you are hitching your wagon to a train that's been down this track before. Okay. Do not just reach out to any of the lenders. Okay. If you use my application and then hop online and find out what lenders are doing it and go right to those lenders, I promise you there will be headaches. Okay. You want to make sure that you are aligning yourself with lenders that have done these programs before. Okay. And don't just take their word for it. You want to interview them. How many of these programs have you done? How successful have you been? Okay. Better off or better way of doing it, give me a call, schedule a call with me. Let me make that introduction for you. Because without fail, a couple of times a month, I get people that are like, John, I went on your webinar. Thank you so much. But I went to ABC company and now they're not returning my phone call. Okay. I don't know ABC company, or better yet, let's say you go to Bank of America. They have thousands of loan officers. I can't, with any degree, I can't call and insert myself in the conversation. But if I introduce you to someone at Bank of America that I know, like, and trust, and it's been proven to get these things done, I can call them up and have a very candid conversation. Why aren't you returning the phone calls? More importantly, what's the problem? What are the headaches, and how do we get around it, and how do we fix it? Okay. Or do we have to pivot? Okay. When people work with me, I don't get people approved for one program. I typically want to get people approved for at least two, because life has the way of tripping me up in my life. So I want to make sure that I've got a backup plan. Okay. I've heard no many times in my life, and I actually respect people that tell me no. But what I don't respect is when I get my family hyped up for a move and have to pull the rug out. That's not cool. Okay. So that is just being upfront, returning phone calls, communicating. And, it's not always great news. I get that, but you need to let people know as soon as possible. This is a very important decision. So do not just let any lender do that for you. Okay. So don't just blindly pick up a lender. So when I connect with a lender, I'm going to share your story. I'm going to communicate your why I think you fit on this program, where your income is, your credit, and more importantly, I'm going to hold them accountable every step of the way. Okay. Now, for those of you, and every now and then I get people that get on these types of webinars that may have been referred to me. So if you don't know who I am, my name is John Collins. I'm actually a realtor. Okay. I have been in the business. Gosh, I got my license in 1987. And after that, I spent probably over 25 years in the mortgage world in different positions, principal at a company. So when it comes to having these high level conversations with lenders, no problems at all. Okay. In fact, most of you who have talked to me in the past, you probably know on our first call, I'm going to ask you, hey, where's your income? What's your credit like? I'm going to put my loan officer hat on, because I don't want to connect you with someone unless I think there's a 90% chance there's going to be a yes. Okay. I don't want to waste your time. And you're never going to hear a no from me. You're just going to hear not right now. This is what we probably need to do. And this is how I would do it if I were in your shoes. Okay. So with me, I'm going to identify the programs, what's going to be the best fit for you. And then we're going to try to put some of the qualifying homes that best fit for you and your family on your radar. Once you find the house and we've got your pre-approval, structuring the transaction to get in with as little money out of pocket is always what I strive for, because for me, I'm about getting quality houses. Okay. I'd rather see you in a good 50s built home that maybe needs a little bit of paint. For me, it's all about the structure. Give me a good roof, dry basement, hopefully some updated windows. And boy, the rest of it, if you've got a 50s built home, it kind of takes care of itself, in my opinion. So from there, I'll help you navigate the mortgage approval the whole way. And most importantly, I have a habit of I give people numbers up front. Okay, so I'll put a loan officer hat on. Okay, you're probably going to need about 2,000 for closing here. This is how we're going to structure it. Now, if we get to every now and then, and when I say every now and then, it might be once, maybe twice a year, I might actually have to adjust my numbers to make things work because they just don't end up that way. Now, if that's because I misled or gave somebody a number and it doesn't line up, I'll make it happen. It's just the price of doing business. But I find that it's better to just, for me, it's all about getting the people in the houses. Okay. That's it. Okay. Everything, situations like that pop up, that's just an opportunity to shine. And you'd be surprised how many referrals you get from helping people out on that. I think people, for the most part, are pretty understanding. You just have to communicate. Okay. So that's where I say experience gets it done. Now, to recap, we kind of went over all of those steps from earlier. Okay. I have been rambling on for 50 minutes now. I'm going to start opening it up for some questions. And let's go back here. All right. So I see most people, great. Detroit area, Macomb County. Please use that application, download it. I think you're going to find, hey, Jaquan Shorter. Great. I just talked to you the other day. Good. All right. Roseville. Hey, somebody looking in Roseville. I got an investor that's about to put a house up tomorrow in Roseville. I shouldn't say they're putting it up tomorrow. They're actually going in to paint it tomorrow. So, so he is really good about, and actually their last name is Williams too. Gloria, that's actually divine intervention in my mind. So, but that being the case, always a good opportunity there. And this, investor is very familiar with what I do. And they are kind of a pay it forward kind of mindset. One of the few landlords I love working with. They're just, they're just good quality people. So, they would be willing to pay closing costs for sure. Cynthia, hey, Reagan, good. Glad you could make it. East Point, got it. And Mary A. Coleman, I need a home. Okay, Mary, schedule a call with me. Couple years, 3 years. Cynthia's been following me 4 years. Oh, thank you. Jamaica Thurman, wow, good. Thomas, thank you so much for hanging in there for as long as you have, everyone. Few months, Gloria. Good. Hey, Cheryl, Grand Rapids. Hey, my application works in Grand Rapids. And, you know, oddly enough, I get people from all over the country that have started using my application. I really need to start promoting that a little bit more. Oh, Adrian, looking for those zip codes. Let me get those for you right now. And let me go back to last week's webinar. And, Adrian, I'm going to pop these zip codes for the Tobias Harris. Schedule a call with me. There's only a few slots left on the $75,000 for the Harris Tobias. And whoops, here it is right here. I'm going to see if you can, let me see if I can zoom in. I can't. But anyways, 48-214-205-206-208, 228-207, 227, 224, 221. This is for the $75,000 that's in the Harris Tobias fund. So, and there are a couple slots left. Okay. So Adrian, schedule a call with me. Happy to go over your situation. And I do have the loan officer's name, who is basically at the point man for the Harris Tobias. So happy to make that introduction so you can jump in line with, I probably got about 5, 6, maybe 7 people that are currently getting approved for it. And there's only going to be about 30 families that get in. And I am certainly not the exclusive person for the Tobias Harris, not like that at all. So that being the case, I'm sure there are other people out there that are, you know, shouting from the hills about this money that's out there. So, okay, Dukes, credit, income, time, Reagan, timing. Yeah, timing. That's the one thing I get. So, but I find if we can start working in making sure that that credit and that income, and maybe get a little bit of assets set aside so we don't have to pinch the pennies too much. And what I mean by that, maybe have $500,000 set aside. that would be a good enough cushion to get people across the finish line in most cases. And then just plan on for maybe $500 at closing. Great one. Houses not worth asking price. Oh my gosh, Brenda. Great. That's a great one right there. And I totally agree with you. I mean, I am kind of like an old school guy. I can't tell you how many houses I walk. Heck, I was in one yesterday with a lady that needed some help. She was actually qualified for the Tobias Harris program. And I just last minute, we wanted to go see a house, and we went in, we looked at it, and you're probably beginning to know how I roll. I just kind of looked at her and I said, because she was almost like she wanted to like the house, but you could just tell that it was just a headache. And I was like, we can do better. Okay. And when I say do better, I think we can find more value. Okay. So I am not about overpaying for a house. In fact, the lenders won't let you overpay. The banks their appraisers are actually starting to, they're not keeping up with prices. So it's not uncommon. If we don't see the values there, we're going to let you know. Now, every now and then, I'll be working with someone that says, hey, I love the house. Got to have it. Okay. And then we'll explain the upside and downside to possibly offering a price that's more than what it's probably worth. Okay. But those are decisions for you to make. Okay. But Brenda, thanks for bringing that up. I find that the prices they're not as bad as they were a year or two ago because the market's been correcting a little bit. I don't know if this, this new directive coming from Washington is going to change that. I think it could be kind of crazy. But time will tell. I mean, that's just my opinion. All right, Jody, lack of money, lower credit score after a job loss the past year. Sorry to hear that. I hope things are back on track for you and your family. Feel free. Schedule a call. Like I say, it's whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it really doesn't matter. I want to make sure that you are on the right course as quickly as we can. Okay. Joanne, the amount of money you need to get a house. Now that comes into the debt to income ratios. So keep in mind now, if you're on a fixed income, there are ways to make those things work. And we can try to, structure a game plan that best works for you and your family. Credit and down payment. Yep. I think we talked about all of those. Yeah. Feel like it's your income. Could be. Give me a call. I mean, I find a lot of people I talk to, their debt to income ratios aren't as bad, and there are ways to restructure things. But it's certainly worth a conversation. So credit, down payment. Greg, valid information. Thank you. Annette, wow. Okay. All about bankrupt foreclosure, behind in taxes. Okay. Lachey's Marbury, I am so sorry for the troubles you've been through. You know what? Not to compare, but I mean, I went through quite a bit myself several years ago, and I can tell you it's dark times. Can't even imagine suddenly losing a spouse. That would be hell on earth for me. But anyways, always happy to have a conversation and see what we can do, because I can tell you, as dark as it does get, there are brighter days out there. And as hard as it is, sometimes just staying positive and persistent, I think that's what our Maker would like. So anyways, my prayers are with you and your family. Got it. Okay. Oh, Dukes, it looks like we had a house that was down the street from your house. Okay. I don't know which one that was, Dukes. That's funny. First-time home buyer. Great. Glad to hear it. Love working with first-time home buyers. We all got to start somewhere. So, there are no shortage of first-time home buyer programs. I will tell you, they are all good. Okay. There's nothing rocket science about first-time home buyers. In my mind, you want to try to tap into as much money as possible. That would be the first step in my book. So download that application. All right. What about rent to own? Might be evicted on Monday, and when I go to court, my son is my landlord. Boy, that's awkward at best. Okay. So anyways, rent, I am not a fan of rent to owns. Okay. And I will tell you why. Um, this is nothing more than my opinion. There probably are some good rent to owns out there. Okay. I find that a lot of rent to owns are actually scams. Okay. They will, they basically prey on people that are in desperate situations and give them a glimmer of hope that they can buy, they can go here and rent, and then they could possibly buy it down the road. And on the surface, it sounds great. But what happens is people go in with those intentions, and the I's aren't dotted and T's aren't crossed. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, you go to your landlord and you have a conversation. Hey, I want to buy the house now. Oh, great. That house is worth X right now. And you as the buyer go, well, no, back 3 years ago, it wasn't. It was a lot less. And then the seller goes, well, that was 3 years ago. I still want X today. Okay. And then you go back to the seller and go, or the landlord, and say, hey, but I put all this work into it. And then the owner goes, oh, thank you very much. It's still X. That's what happens. Okay. In addition to the scams. Okay. What happens with the scams are most of the scammers out there know that people are looking for rent to own. They want to have the home ownership. So they advertise homes, rent to own. And so please, if you ever find a rent to own, okay, call me. Let me go out to public records and see who actually owns it, so you're giving your money to the right place. Okay. But I'll finish it up with this. I just had a gentleman, this was actually last year. He bought a house and put $20,000 down on a rent to own. Went to go buy the house. Actually, this landlord was actually reasonable and said, all right, well, I'm going to sell it to you for the price that we agreed to a couple of years ago. Okay. And that's the key to those rent to owns. You got to get the price up front that you're going to pay down the road. So what happened? He moved into the house, leaky basement, tens of thousands of dollars to fix this leaky basement. Actually, to do waterproofing in a basement right now, a lot of basements, $20,000. Seller wasn't going to budge. He walked away from that $20,000 money he put down on the rent to own to buy another house with me. Okay. Because he knew the house was just needed more work than $20,000. It wasn't worth it to him and his family to sink more money into it at that price. Okay. So even the legitimate ones don't work out. So it's very rare that I see a successful rent to own. Okay. Adrian, I want a 2-story house, area of 6 Mile and 8 Mile, Livernois to Telegraph. Hey, easy enough. There's actually some of the DPA, actually the Harris Tobias program works in those areas too, in those zip codes. So got it. Just downloaded the app from the App Store. Hey, great. Thanks, Jody. Appreciate that. Zoomer, you were on a fixed income. Totally understand that. There are ways to take your fixed income and gross it up. Okay, so let's say, for example, here we go. Where is Kenneth? Just bought the house last week. Fixed income. Say he's got income from Social Security, $1,000 a month. I think he was actually getting like $1,200 a month. Or no, he was actually getting $1,500 a month from Social Security. That's what it was. So we can actually take that $1,500, and since he doesn't pay taxes on it, we can multiply it by 1.25. We gave him credit for $1,875 a month times 0.45. Qualified for $843 payment. His payment came in at like $760 for the house that he bought. So, so it can be done. Okay. I just need to know where your fixed income is, and we'll structure the deal around that. Okay. Lachey's Marbury, is it true that building a house on land is cheaper than getting a mortgage? There is nothing cheap about building a house on land right now. Absolutely nothing. So it depends on where you're building, of course. I mean, right now, land, trying to find a buildable lot is one issue, but I would not right now, the materials for building are outrageous. That's one of the reasons the housing crisis is there. People are giving up on building affordable housing. They can't do it. So, so I'm not a big fan of building in the uncertainty that's on the horizon with the economy. In fact, most builders are trying to close their subdivisions out because there's not a real rosy picture of where we're heading from an economy standpoint right now. So is it true? I don't agree with it. So, but it all comes down to the details. Where's the lot? Okay. So if you're talking about, okay, it's available. I'm sorry, I didn't read it a little bit lower. Looks like the land is available in Detroit. I mean, is it possible, if you're getting a lot in Detroit for an inexpensive amount and you're buying a modular home to put on it, it's all about the comparables. Okay. Regardless of what you're putting up, you want to see comparables in that neighborhood that support that value. That's what it comes down to. Okay. And I used to be, when I was in the mortgage world, my last stint, I used to have what people called rehab loans is what I used to do. I used to do hard money in my former life, as I call it. So I'm very familiar with how to build, maintain, and renovate things. And I will tell you, trying to build in the city has its own challenges from a security standpoint. And navigating those challenges is not for the rookie. Never would I recommend that. Okay. So reach out to me. Love to learn more about what's on your mind so I can better coach you. Ultimately, your decision, of course. But anyways, next question. Good. I'm glad to hear these programs will help you. Farmington Hills. Hey, Reagan, Farmington Hills, love it. So you've got the app, pin down that. And then, I know we talked the other day, so I appreciate you showing up tonight. Love to connect with you as these feds start rolling out some of these programs. Cheryl Galloway, thank you so much. Want to move to Trenton by next year. Actually, downriver has some great programs. There's still some money available. National Faith Wayne County program. Not sure if it quite covers Trenton, and I'm not sure how much money is left on it, but let's see here. Okay, National Faith Down Payment Assistance. Only requires a 580 credit score and does cover Trenton right here. Look at this list of cities. Trenton, right there. And it looks like they still are sitting on $329,000. So this is actually doled out in $14,000 increments. Okay. So great program. I don't know where it's going to be once they run through this last 300,000 of it, but very, very happy to look it up for you and discuss your options and connect you with a lender to get you pre-approved on that. Okay. Redford, Brenda. Redford's a little tough. Not as many programs. As you can see, it's not on this Wayne County program. I like Redford a lot. It does qualify for quite a few programs. I would pin down an address, type it into my app, and you should be able to see what's out in those areas. State programs always available in Redford. So there's quite a few programs. It just doesn't offer as many as some other communities. So schedule an appointment with me. Happy to go over it with you. All right. Lachey Marbury. I've been renting $822 for over 3 years now. How can I convert that over to a mortgage and being successful at owning my home? Let me ask you this, Lachey. By chance, when you say convert that over, are you receiving that through a voucher? That 822? If it is, yeah, it depends on which housing commission you're with. So I would say schedule, if you're uncomfortable talking about it here, 100% schedule a call with me. In fact, let me give you a link to my calendar. Here you go. Good. Or call me directly, 248-252-7283. All right. And good. Where was I here? Great questions tonight. Joanne's appointment Saturday. Great. Look forward to it. Okay. Here is Thomas. I was let go from a job I was at for 5 years, unemployed for 4 months. Now, okay. Heck no. You could be a first time. You know what? I'm glad you're asking this, Thomas, because I should have mentioned this earlier. Thank you. A first time home buyer is defined as a person that hasn't owned a home in 3 years. So remember how I shared with you my story, and I don't know, I didn't go into detail tonight, but I had the misfortune of a bookkeeper that embezzled, and a couple of businesses that were just byproducts of that just really went down hard. And I personally had to go through bankruptcy foreclosure, 100% had to reset everything. And back then, I owned quite a few rental properties and things like that. It was a hot mess. Anyways, and my personal residence, it all had to go, unfortunately. So I get that, but after that, I was a first-time home buyer 3 years later, and the reason it had to be three, usually it's only two, but since I had the foreclosure, I had to wait 3 years. Okay, now after 3 years, I was a first-time home buyer. Okay, and this would have been probably 12, 15 years ago, whatever it was when I came out of this. Actually, it was 12 years ago. That's what really prompted me to do what I do today. Okay, I came through all of those hard times, painful times, and rebounded and built my credit back up. Went to a job where I worked a normal job in a finance. I was in the finance department for car dealers, and got my income back up. I actually qualified for a down payment assistance program to buy the home I'm in right now. And at the last minute, the loan officer said I didn't need it, that I had money in a savings account. And I'm like, I understand that, but I still qualified for it. Okay. So that's what really motivated to me. After I bought that house, I'm like, you know what? I'm getting back into real estate, and I'm teaching people about these down payment assistance programs, because it really irked me. And it still irks me a little bit today that person made a decision for me to spend money that was actually going to be earmarked for my retirement. Okay. Now, my wife and I wanted the house a lot, so we moved forward with the sale, but just the same. Okay. It wasn't the right thing to do. And I catch loan officers even doing that today. They're like, hey, John, thanks for referring me so-and-so, or I'll get a loan officer that they may randomly go to, because my loan officers know I won't stand for that. I'll tell them, no, I sent them to you, or I told them about this program giving them money. The response I get sometimes is, oh, do you know Mr. Jones has money in his retirement account with Chrysler? He can just take that money out. He doesn't need the down payment assistance. I mean, no, that's BS. Okay. You're going to need that money someday. Okay. This money's on the table from down payment assistance or grants. We need to pick that up. Okay. I don't like to that's almost like I feel like that's like a bait and switch. And that just really cuts against my grain. So that being said, every now and then I might have to redirect somebody that way. But no, to answer your question, Thomas, no, doesn't matter. You haven't owned a home in 3 years. You will be a first-time home buyer. And you know what? I'm 60 years old. Okay. You're a young man in my eyes. So definitely don't let that unemployment stretch bother you. As long as you were employed we can show 2 years, even though it's over 2.5 years, that's absolutely fine. So do me a favor, Thomas, schedule a call with me. Love to learn your situation in detail and connect you with a lender that's going to get you approved. Okay. Hey, Regina, glad you can make it here. All right. iPhone Tracy just downloaded the app. Thank you. Would like to move to Washtenaw County. Oh, Washtenaw County. Nothing cheap about moving there, Janine. It is Washtenaw County is one of those counties where it offers a little bit more money because it's expensive to live there. Unfortunately, the University of Michigan and the hospital really drive the market there to the point where it prices people out of Ann Arbor. And but there are a lot of possibilities there, from rural development to MISTA. There's no shortage of programs there as well. In fact, that county has such a high income level that translates to people with high income can get a lot more assistance there. So lots of options there. You're welcome, Thomas. All right, good. Tracy, the app says 19 programs for my old house. That's funny. That's what it said for mine too. So yeah, go look at those 19 programs. Happy to connect you with any of them. Renting a home. Dukes is renting a home for $1,650 per month in Detroit for 2 years now. Okay. So Dukes, that's buying a lot of house in my mind. You're probably looking at a 225, maybe I'm just shooting from the hip, $225,000 house. We could probably tap into the down payment assistance and grants to take you the whole way, depending upon what zip codes and where your income is. Certainly love to know that stuff. And I'm not asking you to share it here. Schedule a call with me. Chances are we could probably lower that payment and you'll own it. Okay. All right. Lachey's, I pay my rent by employment, but it's okay. Got it. Not exactly sure, Lachey's, but gosh, I would certainly invite you to please schedule a call with me. Don't like to see people in stressful situations. It's not a good way to go through life. So we'll try to correct that as much as we can. So please reach out to me. Gretchen Wilson, I can have a big payment, but I have a 798 score and I get SSDI and a part-time job. Okay, got it. Well, Gretchen, I would definitely say schedule a call with me. Your credit score opens you up to possibly stacking programs on top of each other. So that's great news. We would take your SSDI, depending upon what that amount is. And SSDI, there's nothing really standard about it. It can vary quite a bit, anywhere from 1,000 to, I've had people get SSDI up to 3,000 a month. So we can certainly take that, gross it up, and then depending upon how long you've been on your part-time job, possibly give you some credit there too to get you into something. Okay. Now, if your income's low enough and depending upon where you're moving, I don't know what area you're thinking of, but lots of programs out there. Happy to point you in the right direction. Great, Thomas. Look forward to it. Janine, you are welcome. Dukes, 5 to 6 bedrooms. I have 7 children. Oh, gosh, Dukes, you need a big house. Okay. It's hard to find 5 bedrooms, but they're out there. Okay. 7 children. Oh, man. God bless you, man. That's an army. So, yeah. So I imagine you are a man at work, because work with that many kids in my mind would be a sanctuary. So I love my kids, but my wife would be the first one to say, not that I was an absent father, but hey, we got to put food on the table in certain ages. So anyways, but 7 kids, what a blessing. So, but definitely happy to point out actually some of those areas, depending upon where your income is, Dukes, there is that Harris Tobias program actually lends itself to some areas that have some larger homes, be it Morningside. I don't know if you're East Sider or West Sider, but on both sides of town. So yeah, reach out to me. I'd be interested in pulling up houses and see what we can do to help you out there. Oh, Gretchen, I can't have a big payment, but get SSDI and part-time jobs. Not a big payment. Lincoln Park. Oh, so if you have to be in Lincoln Park, it's possible. It might be a little bit tighter. So we really got to try to tap in as much down payment assistance programs as we possibly can. Hate to sound like the old guy, but there's nothing cheap out there anymore. So, but I'm always up for a challenge there, Gretchen. So never hurts to have a call, have a conversation. And if not for anything else, we can shed light on your situation and what I think would be the best path for you. Okay. All right. Duke's schedule a call. Yes, I get it. Now, I only had 4 kids, my friend, so can't imagine 7. But that's an army by today's standards. Okay. Oh, Janine, great. Glad you're going to schedule a call. Good. Tracy, need ton of programming assistance. Okay, we'll get you whatever's out there. Lachey's Marbury, thank you so much for your kind words. I definitely, you are welcome. I don't know, it's hard to tell, being on a Zoom call, but I love what I do. It's actually a gift to help people. I wish I would have discovered this a lot earlier in my life. So it's just, I don't know. It's never too late. So I remember the gentleman said he was 60. It took me till I was 50 to realize that this was my calling. I wish I would have found it a lot. I was very misguided with regards to what was important in life, and helping people is really where life is. And I'm a much better man for it. So anyways, oh, thanks, Dukes. God bless you too. So yeah, looking forward to talking to you too soon. Okay. All right. Gosh, wonderful people tonight. I can't thank you enough. And this is why I said earlier, I really enjoy working within people, friends of yours, family members. Okay. I find that, people are like-minded and there's no end. People that just appreciate the level of expertise, the time, and the content that you give. I mean, that to me is just that's thanks enough for sure. So, so anyways, yep. Love what I do. That's all I can say. So anyways, oh, for sure, Lachey's, my pleasure. So yeah, I wish I would have known this and had the mindset this abundance mindset to teach people earlier in my life. But I was talking with a coworker earlier today and explaining to her how this was a calling, and that just about 6 months ago, it really triggered for me. And that's when, thank goodness my wife was on board and willing to let me take this to the next level. So we are, in addition to building the application that I'm sharing with you, we are building a platform to share all of the things out there. And actually, you know what? I'll give you a little sampling of it. So we are actually in the finishing home stretch, I should say, of building a platform. And this platform is going to be teaching other people. Here it is. It's my website. You'll see on the roof in certain places. So basically, a new website that we're actually dedicating to helping people get across the finish line. And this is where I do appreciate my wife not working with me, but understanding my mission, because there was nothing easy or inexpensive about putting some of this stuff together. And first and foremost, we just got done. We're just finishing up writing 2 books, teaching people how to do these down payments, how to get their credit scores up. We're also in the process, like I said before, we've got our credit repair webinars, and we're just finishing up doing courses where we're going to teach people, doing these digital courses, teaching people how to tap into these programs, how to get past the mindset that you need to have everything perfect. Actually, here is the link to my homepage, and I think this really sums it up. Okay. And this is going beyond my comfort zone, but I'm really the older I get, starting to speak my mind here, because I feel like the whole industry for mortgages has almost been, and real estate has just been built on this lie that we need to have down payments and perfect credit to get things done. And for generations, I actually perpetuated that lie by telling people you needed it. And many times, not knowing, I didn't intentionally steer people away from these programs, but I find people do, because they're not as profitable for the banks. And they're not as profitable for the mortgage brokers. That's why a lot of them will steer people away from these programs. So that's why I need to, when I insert myself in the conversation, I kind of say, no, this is it. And these programs are available across the country. Miami, 200,000, New York, 260,000. These are down payment assistance programs across the country. So now my mission is to start teaching people and doing some of these events on more of a national level, and sharing some of these success stories that I've had in the Detroit area. So these programs are available nationwide, and they just don't get the attention that they deserve. So anyways, shameless plug for, I guess, what we're building, but I'm proud of it. And there's been a lot of labor that's gone into this over the past 6 months. So I'm very, very excited for it. So good. Let me get back to these questions here. So oh, Smith Keith, thank you so much. Perry Hunter, hey, how are you? Yes, good. Glad you were able to get in touch with. I think you were in touch with Steve actually at Guild Mortgage for the Harris Tobias program. So actually, Steve said things were looking quite favorable there, Perry. So I hope you and I are going to get in touch and we'll start looking at some houses pretty soon. Tracy, multifamily house. Oh, Tracy, great question. Can you use down payment assistance programs and grants to buy a multifamily house or multifamily unit? Yes. Crazy. And I think that's going to be my next book that I write. And it's going to be catering towards the younger generation because I feel like some of them don't want the responsibility of owning a house, but they still want to do the right thing and build wealth. Well, you can buy a multifamily unit with down payment assistance programs and grants. You can actually you have to live in one of the units. Okay. So let's be perfectly clear on that. And you'll sign some documents to say you're going to live there for 1 year. Okay. Do they check that? No, I've never had anybody called out on it, but you are going to tell them you're going to be living there 1 year. That's just the way it is. Now, the programs will pay your down payment. And if you are tight on income, there was someone earlier, gosh, I hope she's still on here. There are programs where we can actually take the income from the other units, add it to your personal income, and get you across the finish line. Okay, let me give you an example. There's a zero down grant program currently available at Flagstar Bank. Okay, it's one of my favorite programs, actually. Doesn't give you any money, but what it does do, okay, they actually take the grant money, they buy out your mortgage insurance. No mortgage insurance on this loan. So it's going to keep your payments quite low. It's a conventional product, so they don't beat the house up too much on the appraisal. And it's very easy to get your offers through because it's zero down conventional. So now, if you buy a duplex, okay, and let's say you find one for, let's just say $200,000. Say that payment, you tap into, the payment's going to be $1,300 a month, $1,400 a month. Let's say it's $1,500. Okay. We can put down, okay, that you're going to rent that other unit out. You're going to live in one, rent one out. What's the average rent? Well, might be $1,200 a month. We'll get a rent schedule done by the appraiser. If he says the rents are $1,200 a month in that area, guess what? We take your income and we add $1,200 a month to it. So that person earlier that said that they were on a fixed income, okay, say their fixed income is $1,000 a month. We gross that up to $1,250 a month because they're not taxed on it. Now we add another $1,250 for the payment, the rent payment. Now you're up to $2,500 a month. That's how we work the math. So as long as your payment fits in those guidelines, we're all good. Okay. So it's that type of structuring is threading a needle. I'll be upfront about it, but I'm used to threading needles. That's just the way it is. Okay. So we'll know whether it's going to work before we actually go out and take a look at it. So great question. Didn't sink that one in there. Thank you so much for asking it, Tracy. So now, all over the country, there are other ways to look at. There's so many benefits to multifamily units with regards to cost segregation. And this is an advanced tax maneuver right now. You can write off a substantial portion of that other unit or the rental units in the year that you purchase. Incredible tax benefits there. Okay. So that's a really advanced maneuver, but that's what I was going to be possibly writing my next publication on. Okay, next one. Mary. Oh, great. Glad you're going to schedule a call. Thank you. Have a good night with you as well. Good. All right, Tracy. Happy to help you on that. Yes, it was Steve. Okay. Good. Glad you sent what he asked for. He actually told me, Steve, Perry, he told me everything looked quite favorable, and I'm sure I'll chat with him tomorrow, and we can probably get you out looking houses as soon as possible. So, hey, Perry, thanks for carving out some time. I appreciate you attending this evening. All right. Any other, looks like we got 20 people still on. Any other questions out there? Gosh, I appreciate the attendance tonight. We had a little over 100 people sign up. I think we hit almost 50 people tonight. That's 50%. That's a great turnout in my mind. So thank you all very, very much. Appreciate that. I see someone here, Smith Keys Real Estate. I swear our paths crossed, and I'm wondering if it was, did our paths cross at the home ownership event on the east side a few weeks ago? I'm not sure if you're the person with the same company. Having a senior moment here. So anyways, always love connecting with other agents. In fact, this platform that I'm building, I'm actually going to be making it available for other agents so we can spread this message even more. Okay. So anyways, so please reach out to me. Love getting to know other agents, especially like-minded agents that have a passion to serve and help. Good. Hey, Annette, you have Sunday and Monday off. Okay, great. So you can certainly schedule a call with me on Monday. Here's my cell phone number, 248-252-7283. Hey, if you're off Sunday and you want to chat, you can always shoot me a text. And I know that sounds odd, but I'm always working. I love what I do, so it's really not work. So sometimes Sundays are a little bit quieter for me, actually, although I just committed to, I think, to show a house on Sunday. So that's so don't work too hard on Sundays. I'll tell you that. All right, good. Any other questions before we call it a night here? Great. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. I really do appreciate all of your time this evening, carving some time out on a Wednesday. If you ever have any questions, whether it's real estate, mortgages, title, always happy to give you my 2 cents and try and point you in the right direction if at all possible. So, but I will tell you, there's always a possibility. Okay. It may not be right now, but we'll certainly give you a plan to get where you need to be. Thanks, Darren. Thank you for showing up. So everybody, hope our paths cross real soon. Thank you all very much for attending. Great turnout tonight. Great questions, great audience. And if I can ever help you, thank you, Annette. If there's any way I can ever help you or any of your family members or friends, please pass my information along. I'm sure you can tell I just love what I do. So, all right. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening.